So I'll give you a more concrete example. When I think about the periods when I was in the dark heart, I think about how hard life seemed. And the only little lift I could get would be, I used to drink quite heavily and have these partying times. I also think about the relationships that I was in. Because there was so much fear, I chose really nice, but really safe guys that loved me a lot more than I loved them, because there was this fear of abandonment from my childhood. So I didn't want to be, abandoned. So the fear predominated. So that's what I was creating in my life. And it was also just, you could just see there was limitations in my work and what I was creating. And then when a lot of my life, to be honest, was in the propelled heart, perfectionism, always needing to be number one in the class and always needing to get more and more in the planning and everything. And then it's like there's so little peace at this stage for most of us. It's like these little ups and downs, the dopamine rush. It's like, oh, look how many people loved this post, or this thing did really well. But then there's the big downs. We let the ups in and we let the downs in. Like, oh, like this didn't do as well as I wanted, or, this person didn't ask me out on a second date on whatever, Bumble or whatever dating app you're on. And so the relationships I chose in that stage were fitting into the plan. Like my ex, right? We knew the same people. We went to the same events. It was like also, fun and fancy. It just kind of fit in. But there wasn't that deep connection. There was this still trying to fill. There wasn't that fulfillment, right? And so we see it in our lives play out. And so as we start to go into the steady heart and beyond, your life really does radically change in a way that you can't see yet from the earlier fields. Another thing I think maybe we might mention before we go into the other heart fields is the heart field. Can I show you here in the book, André? We still have the galley here. So this was one of the first ways I started to learn about the power of the heart. And, for anyone struggling, I start to realize—
We'll put it on screen.
Yeah. There is, even right now when we're sitting, there's a torus field coming out of the heart, and it's going beyond our skin where we think we end, 8 to 10 feet, and it's going out and around. And it's 100 times stronger than the brain. So what's really amazing about this heart awakening work, and we talk about coherence, it means your personal field becomes more harmonious and strong. This literally means, André, from a scientific perspective, that you become more magnetic. So it means people start to come to you like, hey, what are you up to? You're just, I don't know, how can I help you? I want to be part of what you're doing. Just things naturally start to come.
More coincidence, synchronicity.
Synchronicities. I talk about when I was in a clear heart moment in the book, I talk about how I ran into Deepak Chopra on the street after he'd reviewed one of my books, but I had never met him in person. And from that one meeting, we met for coffee. We decided to write a book together, which later became a New York Times bestseller. These are things that the mind can't plan. Energy doesn't lie. So when you're in the dark heart and the propelled heart, and you're just feeling like you're hustling all the time and that you can't quite get to that success that you want, you're not meeting the right partner, you really want a family, you really want love, you start to work on this incredible heart resonance, this intelligence inside of you. And then all of a sudden, things start to shift and change on the outside. And this has been my personal experience. This has been the experience of all the people I've been bringing this to. It's so amazing, André, because again, the perception from the dark and the propelled heart is like, gotta work harder, more, self-help books, more motivational talks, like just more stuff versus, oh, there's this energy that I can start to work with inside of me.
I love the Taoist saying, the master does nothing yet leaves nothing undone. And it's
one of my favorite texts.
Yeah. And it's really arriving at that place as you start to race through these different stages. You do experience more coincidence, synchronicity, bumping into people on the street, and you go from the logical, intellectual planning of your whole life to really allowing yourself to be surprised by something greater than you could dream of. And that's a really beautiful place to be.
Because your perceptions change as your heart awakens, your thoughts change. And that also means incredible creativity and this creative power awakens, which leads you to inspired action. So it's not that you sit back and you're like, oh, my heart's awake and everything's going to come to me. What it does mean is that you start to do things in a very different way. You don't have to go about the same arduous uphill. Like the mind is very step by step. I have to do this. Then I'm going to be promoted to this stage, or I have to go on 50 dates statistically before I meet my partner, whatever it is. The heart is nonlinear and dynamic. There is a force that comes through. So the other thing, André, in our culture, or in the Western world in general, there's this idea of like, this is where a lot of the, motivational thinking talks and programs comes from, which can be helpful for some people. But it's often like, I have to awaken me, like, the movies, like the Die Hard movies, it's like, I have the power. I woke up, like, I can save the planet, or like, I can save the building. It's like me, my power. Whereas the awakening heart starts to realize more and more, the clear heart, that there's a power moving through me, right? The Tao is like allowing this force to move through you. So it's non-specific. And it's not personal. There's more ego in it. Like, oh, I'm so awakened. I'm so enlightened. Me. Versus we're all in this. This is moving through me. That heart field that I showed you, it's like, oh, I'm tapping into a different energy field. So it's not like, oh, I'm the source of these miracles and synchronicities. It's that we're operating at a different frequency where things like that tend to happen for anyone who chooses to operate at that frequency. So we can all tap in. And that's what's really exciting about this work as well.